I was so preoccupied with the Switch 2's launch that I was not prepared for the PlayStation State of Play and the Xbox Showcase last week. I knew Summer Game Fest was happening on the Friday because I follow Jeff Keighley on Instagram, and out of the 3 showcases, that was the most likely candidate to show off Kingdom Hearts 4. But I had no idea there was a State of Play on the Wednesday until halfway through the show. And for some reason, I thought the Xbox Showcase was in July. Luckily, I don't think I missed that much. There was one thing from each event that I am really excited about, and the filler for me, it was largely a lot of stuff that I really didn't care about. Let me know what your favorite announcements were and why you're so excited for them down below. I like seeing people talk about things they're excited for, so I've really enjoyed seeing conversations about these events online. So if you enjoy my coverage on these events or want to see me talk about games or movies and TV, feel free to subscribe. I have a Switch 2 video coming out maybe sometime next week. And when there's a Nintendo Direct, I'm going to be covering that like 2 days after the fact. So follow if that's something you're interested in. I'll be going through all of these events in order, starting with the PlayStation State of Play. I'm excited to watch the State of Play because I'm not really sure what they showed off. I know what their big final announcement was, and that I am really excited for. Other than that, I think there's a Silent Hill game that people are looking forward to, and that's all I really can think of off the top of my head, so I am largely going in blind into that. So let's see what they got. Luminous Arise? Perfect idea. A new installment in this series from the people that made Tetris Effects just makes so much sense. Like, this doesn't seem that different on paper than it does in execution, but I wouldn't really say that's an issue because, again, this is like a match made in heaven. It's coming out this fall and has PSVR 2 support. I hope it's multi-platform because a game like this doesn't need to be exclusive anywhere, but I don't think it's something I'd get because I'd rather play Tetris Effects. The entire time I was watching the Romeo is a Dead Man trailer, I was thinking, this is very reminiscent of No More Heroes. It's gotta be Suda 51, right? And yeah, it is. I was enjoying what I was seeing, although I do wish the art style for the whole game looked like that opening segment. But given the talent behind it, I feel like I am going to like this game. I haven't played any of the No More Heroes games. Realistically, I probably should have, but this seems like a really good entry point into Suda 51's games. Coming out next year too, so hopefully I don't have to wait too long. Silent Hill F seems really interesting. Didn't really get a whole lot about the game's story. It was mostly related to the setting. But what I want to talk about in relation to it is how I find it fascinating that PT started this like revolution of first-person horror, but ever since Silent Hill randomly decided to make a comeback, it's pretty much stuck to third person, right? I believe there was like that one free game that was first person, but other than that, it seems like they really don't want to go near anything that will make people think of Silent Hills, which is completely understandable. But yeah, this does look good. It's coming out September 25th. Me personally, I would want to see more from it before I committed to buying it. A new Bloodstained being announced right after a Konami game is hilarious. Don't really have a whole lot to say about it because I don't really care for the series, but I'm happy it exists. The Final Fantasy 14 and 16 studio is remaking Tactics. Okay, I knew this game was coming. I didn't know it was coming out on September 30th though. That's huge. This is one of the things that I saw beforehand. I'm a big fan of the Tactics genre, but I don't even know if I can say that because I've mostly played Fire Emblem, but I'm really down to play this, especially because I've been waiting for a Tactics remaster for a long time. Not because of the Nvidia Shield leak or whatever. Honestly, at this point, there's so many things from that haven't come true. I just don't believe that it was real. Or if the leak was real, it was a mixture of real stuff and just things that the leaker wanted to be true. Because that is decently common with leaks, where someone will start with legit info and then as the well dries up, they just start lying so they get the clicks. I always think back to that one guy who was correct in leaking Smash 4's roster, because they were 5 for 6 in that initial leak. I think the only thing that they got wrong is that they said it was Chrom instead of Robin. Realistically, they could have just saw Chrom's model, and that's how they came to that conclusion. And then the next time the dude dropped a leak, it was completely wrong. I don't think any of them were right. TLDR, don't believe the majority of leaks. Anyways, Tactics Remaster looks dope. I'm definitely going to try to pick that up at launch. Ninja Gaiden Ragebound still looks dope. Probably not going to get it, but I'm really happy this one exists. As cool as it is that PlayStation is making a fight stick, if it's not compatible with every single console, I don't think it's worth it. Like me personally, I have one friend group that's really into Street Fighter 6, but one half is on PS5 and the other half is on Xbox. So if I wanted to get a fight stick, it wouldn't make any sense for me to get theirs because I could only use it on half of the systems. Fight sticks need to be universal to be worth it in my opinion. Honestly, we're so close to the release of Delta Snake Eater, I don't know why they're still showing it off. I feel like we're at the point point where just give us a launch trailer and then we're done. Neo 3 starts out the list of Souls-likes that were announced over this last week. I really don't care. Tides of Tomorrow does seem like it can be really cool. I really like the idea of quickly showing you what other players did when it's your turn to make a choice, while only seeing a little bit of the ramifications. It's definitely something I would want reviews of before I pick it up. I will never complain about more new content for Astrobot. That is all. Go play Astrobot. It's probably going to be the best thing PlayStation does this gen. Sword of the Sea looks like it can be really neat. Although it's funny because initially when the trailer started, I thought it was another port of Journey just because of the sand. Same team though. I guess I always needed a sword skateboarding platformer in my life and just had no idea. Because it looks fun and stunning as hell. Coming out August 19th though, so don't really have to wait too long to play it. I have complete faith in Giant Squid. This is probably going to be a really good game. I really didn't need this trailer for FBC Firebreak. I'm a big fan of the Remedyverse, so you already know I'm going to play this. But it's coming to PlayStation Extras, which I do have, so I am definitely going to be playing this in like 10 days. Okay, so I've always been a pretty big fan of James Bond. If you asked me before this game was announced who I would want to make a James Bond game, I would say IO Interactive immediately. I was so on board when this game was initially announced, and I'm even more on board after seeing it. I do want to see more gameplay. Like, I guess I could just watch Hitman gameplay with like the James Bond theme playing in the background, and that will give me a good idea. But I'm curious how this is going to differ from their Hitman games. At the very least, the story I'm on board for. Right now, I would be interested if this was a movie, so they're going to have to convince me that this is a game that I want to play. Spoilers, I already really want to play it. Coming out next year, that checks out. This is the first time that we're actually seeing anything from it, so it shouldn't be surprising. As of right now, that might be my most anticipated game next year. Oh wait, the gameplay reveal is this summer. Don't mess this up, IO. That was a big nothing burger for Ghosts of Yotai, eh? I think PlayStation realized, oh wait a minute, if the only thing we talk about from our first party studios is Astrobot DLC, people are going to be pissed. So they quickly slapped together 30 seconds of this game and said, gameplay deep dive coming in July. It's pretty wild that those were the only two games that were from first-party PlayStation studios. And their final announcement was something that I was not expecting. I wasn't expecting it in this form. In fact, I was kind of expecting MVC4 to be announced at Summer Game Fest this week. It just really felt like one was coming, especially after the Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection, which I bought essentially to tell Capcom, hey, I want more MVC. So an Arc System Works Marvel vs. Marvel fighting game came out of left field for me completely. On one hand, I'm sad that it's not Marvel vs. Capcom, and that most likely means we're not getting one anytime soon. But I'm happy because we're still getting a Marvel fighting game. It's weird because I've wanted a new Marvel fighting game for a long time. So I wonder how the lack of Capcom characters is going to affect my enjoyment of it. I mean, I did main Akuma in UMVC 3, so that's going to be rough for me. It's going to be a really good test to see if it's the superhero fighting aspect of the game I like, the Capcom side of it, or if it's the crossover aspect to it. It's really cool that it's going to be 4v4 this time around, so I'm expecting a really big roster because it's going to be 8 characters in a match. I don't know, this just feels like a Monkey Paw game, you know? Like, I kept asking for a Marvel vs. game, but then it gave me one without Capcom attached to it at all, but made by Arc System Works. But also, they completely fumbled Dragon Ball FighterZ by the end of its life, so that does make me a bit worried, especially because within the last 2 years, we saw like a complete renaissance in fighting games. Street Fighter, Tekken, and Mortal Kombat all put out really good games all around the same time, but all of them except the Capcom made one have completely fallen off from what I've heard. I don't know, I'm going to get this day one. I'm super excited for it, but I want Capcom, man. It's weird. This game is really weird for me because it's so close to what I wanted. Because I can't see myself really enjoying it, but then lamenting at the lack of Capcom. But also, if I don't like it, I'm going to blame the fact that it wasn't made by Capcom. Again, like, it's weird. I don't know, man. I'm so excited for Marvel vs. Marvel, but I think a part of me is always going to be sad that it isn't Marvel versus Capcom. Still a perfect studio to give it to if Capcom isn't involved at all, though. So overall, the state of play was pretty good if you ignore the fact that it's a PlayStation state of play, because all of the first party offerings were a free update to Astrobot and the promise to show off more Ghosts of Yotai soon. But then again, I'm not the biggest fan of PlayStation's first party formula, so even if they did have more big first party stuff, my favorite thing still probably would have been 007 First Light in Marvel vs. Marvel. So the lack of first party stuff isn't really hurting the show for me. I feel like it's more so bad for their core audience. And honestly, it's also surprising that the only Square Enix game here was the Final Fantasy Tactics remake. It's fine. I wasn't expecting to see Kingdom Hearts 4 here. I was expecting to see it at Summer Game Fest. We didn't get KH4 here. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, Summer Game Fest was kind of ass. I think this might be my least favorite show in a while that Keeley's put on. I don't know how much of that is because I was expecting KH4 and I didn't get it, or the fact that there was just so many Souls-likes that I'm never going to play. One of those is going to get a shout out in this video though. I think my favorite thing about the Death Stranding trailers is that they do absolutely nothing to sell me, someone who wasn't the biggest fan of the first one, on this game whatsoever. Pretty consistently, Kojima's trailers are way too long and don't really do a good job of onboarding people who aren't already with him. I'm more excited for OD. I'm convinced that the Sonic Racing Cross Worlds trailer was a Snapcube reference.
I can't see the end of the horizon! Hatsune Miku!
There's a 0% chance that they weren't making a real-time fan dub joke by showing that dude from Sonic Riders and then hard cutting to Hatsune Miku. I think that might be the funniest thing from all of these shows. Like, they knew what they were doing. Also, Ichi and Joker coming to it is pretty neat. Oh yeah, and there's Minecraft. I'm not gonna get this game, but it seems funny as hell at the very least. I think my favorite thing about it is that Mario Kart, instead of doing a Smash Kart like many people were asking for, cut Link, cut Animal Crossing, cut the Inklings, and then give us crabs, dolphins, snowman. Like, personally, I think I'd rather have joke enemy characters than just characters from other franchises. So it's good that Sonic is giving people the crossover that they crave. Mouse PI for Hire didn't really get talked about the most here. I want to bring it up because I am really excited for this game. Every now and then I'll see like gameplay or a trailer in my TikTok feed, and I'm reminded how cool this game is going to be. I was surprised how many Atomic Heart related projects were announced. Like, I didn't know the first game did that well. The only one I'm relatively interested at all is Atomic Heart 2, but realistically, I should probably play the first one at some point, eh? Muppet Punch-Out was something I didn't know I needed in my life, and I am kind of really down for it. My only hope is that it doesn't get too vulgar with it, because the joke of Muppets swearing is going to get old really quickly, and then once the joke stops being funny, we're left with over-the-top swearing. I kid you not when I say LEGO Voyagers could be Game of the Year material. Like, if they nail the landing with this game, I feel like for what they're trying to go for, they could make a perfect game. Just a super fun physics-based puzzle co-op platformer. Physics-based puzzle platformers are already super fun, but having everything be made out of Lego and having the whole game be co-op is a super cool idea. If this game slaps, I am going to be singing its praises super hard. Kind of like what I did with Astrobot. Something about games of this vibe we just don't really get that much anymore. So between Astrobot winning Game of the Year last year and It Takes Two winning Game of the Year when it came out, I feel like we're going to start getting a lot of really fun co-op puzzle games. And I will be there day one. Lies of P's DLC shadow dropping was probably one of the biggest announcements from the show. Don't care for the genre, but I love a good shadow drop, man. I know a lot of people have been waiting for this DLC, and I guess this game is like one of the best Souls-likes. So them dropping it in this way is something I respect. When Jeff described Fractured Blossoms, I was immediately out. I don't like being too negative, but Doki Doki Farming Sim just gives me the same vibes as whenever a children's property enters the public domain and we get a horror movie based off of it. I'm just really not down for it. Unlike the Link's Awakening game coming from the Shovel Knight team. I am getting this game day one. It looks so fun. I love the art style. It just seems so creative, and it's coming from such a good team. Like, this is going to be the big indie game of the year. It really depends if you count Expedition 33 as indie or AA. The Deadpool VR game seems neat, but that could just be because I like fun, silly VR games like this. But I'm not going to play it because I don't have an Oculus. But if I did, I would definitely try to pick it up. Mixtape seems neat. It's like a very interesting kind of game. I really like the art style, but I don't know if this is one I would really play anywhere near its launch. Honestly, I think I'm mostly interested in it because it's so different from what's normally announced at these shows. Axe of Blood looks cool as hell. It just looks like a really fun beat 'em up with parkour elements. It was a very satisfying trailer to watch because of the fluidity in the combat. I feel like there are very few games that are able to capture what action movies really look like, and this appears to be doing it perfectly. I'm so excited. This game's going to be fun as hell. It was really funny watching the trailer because during it, Jeff mentioned how it's based off of the guy's hometown. And while I was watching it, I was thinking, man, it's crazy that one of the biggest AAA developers in the world has a studio in Toronto, and we've yet to get an open world game set here. Like, I want a fully open world game set in Toronto, or at the very least more games set here. And then immediately after, we got a new Scott Pilgrim game. Scott Pilgrim 2? I popped the hell off. I immediately knew it was Scott Pilgrim the second we saw the CN Tower 2. And it's made by the exact people I would want to be making it. Oh, I really hope they get the same band to make the music. Yeah, I'm sold. I'm there day one. I don't know how well you can see it, but I have that really big special edition of the first game from Limited Run. And while I do think the industry has too many re-releases at times, it is a good way to test market sequels or reboots. Like, the only reason why we're getting Scott Pilgrim EX or X, perfect title, by the way. Like, I'm assuming it's EX, but the fact that it could just be X is hilarious to me. Is fully because that limited run did very well. Oh man, I'm so happy about that. I think it might be my favorite announcement from the show. Realistically, it's probably not a good sign that it was. Where are you, Kingdom Hearts 4? But it's still really cool. Not gonna lie, that Capture the Flag game did seem kind of neat, but it's one of those multiplayer games that while it does seem cool, I don't think it's going to have an active life for a very long time. Despite how interesting it looks to me, I don't think I'm going to play it because I do not want to get invested in a multiplayer game that's just going to die within a year. I already went through that with Halo Infinite. Not doing it again. Into the Unwell looks really cool. Like, I was kind of in love with everything they were showing, except the fact that it's a roguelike. I just don't really like the genre that much, but what I watched did seem really fun. It looks appealing, but it's probably going to come down to how much do I lose when I die? Because that's the main thing preventing me from enjoying roguelikes. I hate losing progress. We saw Project Century again and got the reveal of its name, Stranger Than Heaven. And from what little bit we saw, I am so excited. I take back what I said about Scott Pilgrim being my most anticipated game from this event. It's this one. Scott Pilgrim's still a very close second though. As you know, if you've watched this channel or talked to me at all, I'm a big fan of the Like a Dragon series. So a new IP from the team behind it with a very cool setting, I'm down. It seems like it's going to have a large focus on player choice too. And so much in the trailer I'm like surprised to see. Like, there's one shot where a guy pulls a knife out on you and the crowd disperses and everyone keeps bumping into the player and the enemy. No release year, sadly, so it's probably going to be 2027, but I want them to take their time with this game. I could easily see this becoming RGG's magnum opus. I also hope it's completely disconnected from the Like a Dragon series. Like, if Judgment died due to contract disputes and this is what they're working on because of it, I want it to be its own thing. Don't try to replace Judgment, especially after Lost Judgment was so good. I'm so excited for this game. It's going to be so fun. And the final announcement, despite them talking about RE earlier, making it seem like we weren't going to get anything else from it, was Resident Evil Requiem. And this has to be the most interesting looking Resident Evil game in a long time for me. I never finished it for no reason, like legitimately no good reason, but I really enjoyed 7 and I didn't really care for the direction of 8. It's just not what I wanted out of Resident Evil after 7. And so far from what we've seen from 9, this is way more interesting to me. Realistically, we should have figured it was going to be an RE game considering how much the hair just looked like RE engine hair. And it's coming out early next year too, so that's probably going to be the 2026 GOTY, I'm going to be honest. Don't really know a whole lot that's coming out next year, but if this game does as well as people are expecting it to, it's going to be really good. And that was it for Summer Game Fest. And we once again didn't see KH4. Honestly, it makes sense that it's been so long since we've seen Kingdom Hearts 4, because I imagine they showed the game off pretty early in its development, and switching from UE4 to UE5 probably took a decent amount of time. But big AAA games, especially when you're building it from the ground up, take like 5-6 years to make nowadays. So assuming they started KH4 immediately after KH3's DLC, we're probably not going to be seeing it until like 2026, 2027-ish. It's kind of hard to get an estimation for how far into its development it is when the only thing we've heard about the game at all in the last 3 years were 7 screenshots, because of course it was 7. Do you know what? The HUD looks active, which is something that it normally doesn't happen until later on in KH trailers. And it does look good. Oh my god, like Sora in that one screenshot looks really good. The lighting, I just want it so bad. Anyways, Summer Game Fest was fine. There are a couple things that I am really excited for, but overall the show just had too many Souls-like, too many games that have the Genshin art style. Just a lot of similar things that I am tired of seeing. Like the majority of the stuff from the show that grabbed my interest were games with unique art styles. I've never seen anything like the Punch-Out Puppet game. And the majority of the stuff that I am excited for from this don't look like just big AAA games. They have like a genuine art style attached to them. For a couple years, everyone was making fun of the fact that we kept getting like sci-fi horror games at Keighley events, but I'm not really seeing a lot of people criticize how many Souls-likes we're getting at them now. I think the other reason why it wasn't really the best event for me, despite having some titles I'm really excited about, is I think a lot of studios are in between games right now. Like they're just in that awkward middle ground in between projects where it's like too soon to show stuff unless you're Square Enix. So it just feels like nothing's really coming out. Like off of the top of my head, the only big games I can remember coming out next year are Resident Evil, Marvel vs. Marvel, 007. I was about to say Stranger Than Heaven, but we don't know when that's coming out. Ghost of Yotai. That's the other one. And now we go from the worst conference, in my opinion, to the best one, the Xbox Showcase. I was fully able to enjoy what Xbox was showing me because at no point did I ever expect them to talk about KH4. Memes about that game aside, please, where is it? I think the main reason why I end up enjoying these Xbox showcases the most is because I have like no expectations for them. So like when PlayStation doesn't show me any really big first party stuff that I care about, but a couple cool third parties, I'm like, okay, that was good. Could have been better. Or when Jeff Keighley comes out with like a bunch of stuff I'm not really interested in, a couple things from like random publishers I'm down for, I'm like, okay, those are cool. But overall, it was a very kind of boring show. But with Xbox, boring is what I'm expecting. So when they do kind of come out somewhat swinging, I'm like, oh, these look really cool. The Outer Worlds 2 is looking like it's going to be really good. And it's definitely going to be something I need to play because we're not getting another Fallout game for at least a decade. Like, it seems this one is leaning into the wacky nature of the series a bit more, especially with the weapons. Like, some of the more goofy ones looked really fun. I didn't watch the big showcase that they had for it because I'm already sold on it, so I'm just going to wait. It's coming out October 29th, so it's not going to be that long of a wait. Like, I didn't really look into it too much, but the perk system seems really funny. Like, there's one that I believe increases your stealth by a lot, but the downside is your guy has bad knees, so whenever you stand up, they crack and alert everybody around you. I'm really excited to see how deep that system goes. I feel like there's going to be a lot of really funny things around it. The Xbox Ally running every single storefront, except Epic, I believe, is actually pretty huge. I didn't know it was a reskin of an existing handheld, but looking into it, it seems really cool and is once again fueling my hatred for the PS Portal. Because like, why would you spend the money on the PS Portal when this can download the games to it and isn't dependent just on your internet connection? And we also got another shout out for Silksong coming out this winter. For the record, I will be in shambles if we get Silksong before we get any new news on KH4. Oh dude, Super Meat Boy 3D! I'm so excited for that. When the trailer started, I thought they were announcing Xbox games coming to Switch too, but this is a way better announcement for me, man. I really like Super Meat Boy and this looks so fun. Sucks that it's early next year. I thought it would be this year. Like, it looks pretty far into development, but I'll take it. I've been waiting for a new game in this series that isn't Super Meat Boy Forever for a very long time. I don't know if the Indiana Jones DLC was something they said they were working on, but I was very surprised to hear it. I need to get back on that game. I played very little of it when it came out, but I did enjoy it. Beast of Reincarnation, I have a lot to say about, because the reaction online really proves to me that nobody knows why Scarlet and Violet launched the way it did. Because I see people blame Nintendo, I see people blame Game Freak, Freak, but they forget who really has control over the series. It's the Pokemon Company and Creatures Inc. I always shot down that the Switch was the reason Scarlet and Violet launched the way it did because Xenoblade 3 exists on the same hardware. Nintendo is, and has always been, very hands-off with the series. So the culprits were either Game Freak or the Pokemon Company and Creatures Inc. And I really hope this game does well so people can start blaming the right source. Like, I'm going to be honest, I've always been a little salty that the video I did on the state of the Pokemon series a couple years ago didn't do that well, because I believe I identified the problem perfectly. Game Freak is being forced to make open world 3D RPGs at the same development cycle that they were making 2D DS games, which is completely unreasonable. And they have to keep on that development cycle because there's so many tie-in stuff related to Pokemon. Because if the games slow down, that means all of the tie-in stuff has to slow down with it. And then there's going to be a bigger drought in money for everybody involved. So the Pokemon Company, Creatures Inc., and all of the companies making tie-in stuff are going to be very upset with Game Freak if they don't pump out games yearly. Like I originally called the video, Pokemon is suffering from success for a reason. It is a cash cow that cannot be stopped, and I hope this game is phenomenal so people realize what the issue is. Honestly, a bit of the blame does fall on Nintendo because with their own IPs, they do give everybody time to develop the games. So it's kind of annoying that at any point they didn't intervene and be like, hey, you can't be making a big open world RPG in 2 years. That is not feasible. It's never been the hardware's fault because, again, Xenoblade exists. It's a fault of the people forcing these two studios within Game Freak to be making a game every other year. So if this project, completely separated from the company that is forcing them to work on that schedule, does well, I'm going to feel so vindicated. But realistically, it's going to lead to people blaming Nintendo when, again, it's the Pokemon Company and or Creatures Inc. I remember watching the Clockwork Revolution trailer last year and thinking, oh, this game could probably be really cool. And this new trailer only solidified that for me. This seems like it's going to be a very fun and engaging first-person RPG. It's kind of one of those trailers that didn't leave me with a lot to say, but I really liked everything I watched. I think this game is going to be a banger. Keep an eye out for it. I was genuinely shocked that ESO is still around and getting content. Same thing goes to Fallout 76. I genuinely do not know who's playing these games. That new Don't Nod game seems kind of neat, but again, I don't really know a whole lot about it, so I feel like I want to see more before I'm convinced to play it. Honestly, I think it's still just kind of weird seeing them make something completely disconnected from Life is Strange. There are no ghosts at the Grand really convinced me by the end of the trailer. Like, watching it, it kind of just seemed like a generic power wash sim type game, but as it went on and started to reveal more what the game was about, I was like, oh, they actually might be doing something with this. Instead of just making it horror, it seems like they're actually trying to play with the tropes and the genre in an interesting way. The unexpected twist isn't that it's scary, it's that there's something else lurking underneath the game that we don't know. And that's why I'm sold on it. Oh wait, was Out of Words at Summer Game Fest? I thought it was at the Xbox showcase. Anyways, Out of Words looks really cool. Again, another game with a really fun art style. I really like co-op puzzle platformers, so I'm not going to complain that we keep getting them. I'd rather a million puzzle platformers with a unique art style than 500,000 Souls-likes and 500,000 games that look exactly like Genshin. At Fate's End looks neat. Again, really fun art style. I would want a demo of this game to see if it's something that I would actually enjoy or not. I'm surprised the only Gears of War we got to see was the remake of the original and nothing else. Pretty lackluster showing, if I'm going to be honest, but whatever. I don't care for Gears at all, so that's probably why I feel that way. Apparently a Persona 4 remake was really expected out of this show, so I wasn't really surprised when Persona 4 Revival showed up. I was surprised by the art style in the world. I don't know how I feel about it yet. I would personally want something a bit more stylized from the series. The most shocking thing from the trailer was that they didn't announce a release window at all. I don't know why they did that. There's no way this game isn't coming out next year, right? I'm really hoping that doesn't mean P6 is even further than we think it is. Best case scenario, they do what they did with Metaphor and P3R, where P4R is earlier in the year and P6 is at the end of the year. Yeah, I'm excited to play this. P4 is my least favorite out of the 3 Persona games that matter. Persona 3 is the best Persona game, don't at me. And it's surprising we didn't see anything else Atlas is working on. Should we be concerned about P6? I think we should be a little bit concerned, because P5 came out out in 2016 in Japan. It's almost been a decade. Even if the team immediately went on to make Persona 5 Royal, that was 2020. It's been 5 years and we've gotten more about Kingdom Hearts 4 than we have about Persona 6. But at the very least, in that time, they've given us 2 Persona remakes. The second that dude was sitting in traffic and I saw a yellow and blue fly through him, I immediately was like, oh my god, this is the Invincible game that got announced a while ago. Like, I remember not hearing much about it other than the fact that there was an Invincible game in development, but a 3v3 Marvel vs. Capcom clone? I'm sold. This is such a good time if you want 3v3 fighting games. My only fear about the game is the team making it. I don't know that much about the studio. Apparently it's the Killer Instinct team. I don't know. I think I just have a high bar that this game needs to meet. Same thing goes for Marvel vs. Marvel. It's 2 IPs that I love, so I want them to do it right. The other worry I have for the game relates to the show. If Invincible Versus has stuff that's in the comics that isn't in the show yet, I'm not going to play it. I am trying to experience Invincible through a medium I prefer more, TV. I love TV. I don't read comics. I am actively going to avoid this game if it spoils the show for me as someone who hasn't read the comics. But I think there's a really smart workaround. If this game does well and it is able to have a pretty solid life, I think the best course of action would be to launch with characters that are only in the first 3 seasons. Maybe include characters that are introduced in season 4. Depends on when the game and the season comes out. But after a new season comes out over that next year, that's when we get the DLC, and the DLC were characters introduced in that season. So whoever we get in season 5 could be like Fighter Pass 1, and whoever's in season 6 can be Fighter Pass 2, and so on and so forth. I think that is a really cool way to keep the game relevant over the course of the show's life. Because now whenever I see somebody really cool in the show and I'm like, oh my god, their fighting style seems super fun, I would love to play them in the game, I'll have DLC to look forward to over the year. It can be a really good relationship between the show and the game, and I hope that's how they do it. Mostly because I need them to respect the show watchers for not knowing the comics. 7 Remake and 16 coming to Xbox is cool and all. I already have both those games, so I'm not going to pick them up, especially because I doubt they're going to be physical. Honestly, it's just mostly surprising that we got like 3 Square Enix announcements this week. Again, none of them were Kingdom Hearts 4. So let's rank all of them. Number 1, Final Fantasy Tactics Remake, obviously. Number 2, Final Fantasy 16 and 7 Remake coming to Xbox. Good for Xbox fans. And last and certainly least, whatever that multiplayer game they're publishing is called. I can't believe that was the only thing they showed off at Summer Game Fest, man. Especially because we're nearing the point after Intergrade came out where they started talking about part 2. So we should be expecting to see part 3 of Remake really soon. Like, there's no way that isn't coming out for the 30th anniversary anyway, so they are going to start talking about it soon. Like, where's Kingdom Hearts 4, man? Please, please give it to me. Double Fine's new game, Keeper, seems really weird, even for them. Like, this was not what I was expecting after Psychonauts 2, but I trust this team with anything at this point, so I'm probably going to play it day 1 on Game Pass. And then the last announcement seemed like a really cool sci-fi game that had interesting ideas. I thought it was Call of Duty. Oh, is it Call of Duty? Oh, no. That like actually hurt. I'm going to be honest. I don't like that. So yeah, that was the Xbox showcase, and I felt like they had a lot of really good things to talk about. Maybe because I wasn't expecting there to be much of anything good. Like, it's probably going to have the most games out of the 3 events that I'm going to play, but I think what I like out of the industry doesn't really get shown off all that much at these events. Like, I like Nintendo stuff. They're only going to talk about it at Nintendo Directs. I like JRPGs, but there's no way in hell Jeff Keighley is talking about a JRPG that isn't from Atlas or Final Fantasy related. We are starting to get puzzle platformers more, which I do like. Again, I just think so much of what like really gets me to pop off doesn't show up here that often, except Xbox. They keep showing off RPGs I'm really interested in for some reason. I also don't know if these events just feel slower because a lot of big studios are in between games right now because they take so long to make, but every now and then it feels like everything grinds to a halt, you know? Do you agree? Think I'm an idiot? Comment down below. Like the video if you also can't think of a outro joke for this part of the video, so you're kind of just going to say this because you don't want to sit here for too long trying to think of one. And subscribe for more content. Follow me on other platforms if you want. Take care, guys.